Hello, my name is Ethan Weinkrantz. I am a teenage filmmaker, photographer, content creator extraordinaire. I recently made a film titled Can't Sleep for the Long Island Crisis Center, and this is my director's commentary. Before we move any further, I would like to mention that this entire project was sponsored by the Long Island Crisis Center. They are a nonprofit organization that provides free, high-quality, confidential, and non-judgmental services to support residents of Long Island who may feel that they are in crisis. They have a hotline in operation every single day, 24/7, and they even have a chat feature that is accessible as well if a phone call may not be ideal for you. You could learn more at longislandcrisiscenter.org. So the theme and the motive and the message basically behind this film, well, we wanted to make it sort of like a public service announcement centered around mental health, insomnia, and cell phone addiction in high school students. Although it's pretty ambiguous, so it can be interpreted in a number of ways. We wanted as many people as possible to be able to relate to this film and get value from it. This film is heavily inspired by drug-related movies such as Fight Club by David Fincher and Requiem for a Dream by Darren Aronofsky. This film was also heavily inspired by this ad campaign geared towards teens titled The Real Cost, which consists of creative public service announcements about vaping that really do a great job of captivating their audience. So in order to achieve our goal of creating this film, I needed to find a devoted team of individuals to help me along the way. First off, Amari Jasor. He is my co-director and he helped come up with a lot of the creative ideas that are packed into this thing. He is great at casting actors, extras, and locations to film in, and he definitely has a knack for storytelling. Next is Alex Blitzer. He was the one who at the last second decided to play the lead role of our film. He did a great job subtly expressing the emotions of our character in the way that he moved throughout each shot. He was also gracious enough to let us put eyeshadow on him and spray him with saltwater spray to achieve the look that we were going for. Next is my mom. Actually, my mom played the therapist figure in this film. It was very difficult to find an adult willing to play this person in our film, so I'm really happy that my mom decided to step in and help us out. She did as many takes as we needed. Thank you so much, Mom, for helping us with this, and I hope you had a lot of fun with this project. Now, if we were going to make this film about high school students and their school life and home life, we needed to find locations to help portray that. So first, I used my living room, which looks sort of like it could be a therapist office of some sort. I also used my bedroom, which has these LED light bulbs that worked great for ambient lighting in the scene. And last but not least, we had to use my school classroom and hallway, which was somewhat stressful to pull off, but I'm glad that we pulled through. Alright, so now that I mentioned the motive behind the film, the talent, and the locations that we used, I think now is a great time to hop on the computer for a shot-by-shot analysis of Can't Sleep. So right off the bat, this shot is kind of meant to be a wide establishing shot, which kind of lets the viewer know, okay, we're in an environment where we're giving an interview. It's a living room, sort of office type of vibe. I decided to shoot this wide shot at a Dutch angle to portray that something feels off. A Dutch angle basically means that the entire shot is just slightly off kilter. Okay, let's press play.
Good to see you again, Jimmy.
So the name Jimmy is not actually Alex's real name, as you can tell. Jimmy was actually the original person who was supposed to play this character, but he dropped out at the last second. But we ended up deciding to just keep the name as we would have to switch up the entire script, so we just left it as Jimmy. But the real Jimmy, the Jimmy that was supposed to play Alex's role, is the extra that walks into our main character, Alex, in the hallway.
So how have you been sleeping?
So here, this is the first instance where you hear that echoey, distant sounding dialogue. In Final Cut Pro, I used this delay effect to kind of give this voice a very distant feel.
I haven't been sleeping much recently. I actually haven't been sleeping at all.
With some of these close-up shots in the living room, I tried to overexpose the shot slightly in order to put the viewer in Jimmy's point of view, because when you are sleep deprived and you're used to the darkness, everything around you always seems a bit too bright, so I kind of wanted to portray that in these shots. Alright, over here we have a sock hanging from the ceiling fan to again portray that something doesn't feel right. So now you're starting to hear this voice appear in the background. These will continue to pop up throughout the film as the pace ramps up. This one in particular is reciting a line from the book Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, which Alex is holding right now. We decided on this book as it also has to do with mental health, and the alter egos of Jekyll and Hyde could represent Jimmy when he is sleep deprived versus when he is not sleep deprived. Alright, so here now you're beginning to see some of the set design that we tried in my bedroom. We have a bottle of fake melatonin, we have this box of sleepy time medicinal tea, we have this glass of milk, which obviously you drink milk when you're trying to fall asleep, and we have earbuds, and we have different articles of clothing spread out all across the room to portray Jimmy's tiredness and his just disorganization, and his strong, deep desire to fall asleep.
Even you are deprived of dreams, you do not solidify new information that you're taking in. So learning is impacted. People who are severely sleep deprived also have a great deal.
These shots of Jimmy sitting in the closet I really like because the lights are flickering, there's a very cluttered background, this shot is out of focus, so it helps to portray the disarray going on inside of his brain right now. I really like how we use the composition and the focus and the lighting to kind of portray Jimmy's kind of internal state. This shot right here, this is the hero shot. This is basically one of the first ideas that I had related to this video, and this kind of helps tie everything together. We see Jimmy cloned 4 different times in his bedroom. It's a wide shot to again portray the disarray going on inside of his brain and the different things that he's focused on so he can't fall asleep.
And how has school been?
School's been like a lucid dream. I go into school every day. Dark eyes under my circles.
So in these shots, I edited it in a way to kind of emulate film with some artificial film grain, some red halation and pro mist, and some green in the shadows to make it feel like it actually was shot on film stock. I don't know, I just kind of like the look. It was a stylistic choice. A lot of these shots are in slow motion to make everything feel slower and kind of put you in the point of view of the character yet again. Here we see Jimmy wearing a red sweatshirt, which is great as it is a bright color and it contrasts against the extras and the other people walking around in the background.
Everyone looks at me. Everyone knows I can't sleep. It's just so heavy. I feel so overwhelmed, like I'm drowning.
This shot I love because again we use the composition to portray what Jimmy is saying and what he's feeling. He says he's drowning and we used part of the couch over his face to kind of represent water and just make you feel like he is drowning in the couch and just drowning in his own thoughts, in a sense.
All my classes, I'm failing.
For this shot, I tried a drug trip type of effect when he's sitting in the classroom and we have it pushing in. I found this underwater effect in Final Cut Pro to kind of overlay over the entire clip to just make it feel like he's like high or he's like on drugs to represent his sleep deprivation.
Feels like I'm running a race. Can't catch up.
For this shot, we have Jimmy holding the camera in front of him like this as he walks to kind of have him remain in the center and all the other extras and everything else is moving around behind him. I've seen this done in other music videos and films before, so I really was eager to try this effect out for myself, and I think it came out pretty good.
Sedation number is the
So
same
when you don't get
as
enough
the
deep
charge.
sleep, you're sick all the time.
Jimmy, did you write that down?
So now you're beginning to hear even more of these voices layered on top of each other, and throughout this entire sequence we have the cell phone notification sounds in the background that gradually get louder and louder. We used real teachers to do these voiceovers, so they're very accurate representation of what goes on in school. We picked music that inherently felt distant and depressing, and the music also has vocal chops to kind of again play into the disarray that's going on here. We have different audio tracks fading in and out constantly. There's just an overlap of so many different layers of audio. And the music and the sound effects, they're panning from the left ear to the right ear to again represent how Jimmy is feeling inside of his own body. He's in this surreal state. Everything is confusing. Everything is off kilter.
You got a test next week.
Are you sleeping?
Yo, watch where you're going, man.
Jimmy, wake up!
Here, clearly, we have the classroom filled, and then when the teacher taps the desk and he wakes up, it cuts to a wide shot of the lights off and the entire room is empty. This was just a great way to show the time passing in the given situation.
What were you gonna say? Jimmy!
I'm sorry.
Jimmy, you dozed off there again.
What were you saying?
Do you have any idea what's keeping you up at night?
So although this shot seems pretty easy to pull off, this was actually all done in editing because it was almost impossible to have this many notifications flood his phone at once. So I decided to just say scrap it, and I designed that entire screen on the phone from scratch. It took me probably about 2.5 hours to produce this effect, which is kind of ridiculous considering that no one could even tell what I did. So, that was my director's commentary on Can't Sleep. Before the video ends, I'm going to show the edited footage versus the raw footage and the timeline all playing at the same time, so you could really see and appreciate all of the editing that went into this project. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Good to see you again, Jimmy. So how have you been sleeping?
I haven't been sleeping much recently. I actually haven't been sleeping at all.
Sleep has left me. The deadliest sense
If you are deprived of dreams, you do not solidify new information that you're taking in. So learning is impacted. People who are severely sleep deprived also have a great deal of difficulty.
And how has school been?
School's been like a lucid dream. I go into school every day. Dark eyes under my circles. Everyone looks at me. Everyone knows I can't sleep. It's just so heavy. I feel so overwhelmed, like I'm drowning. All my classes, I'm failing. Feels like I'm running a race. Can't catch up.
Sedation number is the
So
same
when you don't get
as
enough
the
deep
charge.
sleep, you're sick all the time.
Jimmy, did you write that down?
You got a test next week.
Are you sleeping?
Yo, watch where you're going, man.
Jimmy, wake up!
What were you gonna say? Jimmy!
I'm sorry.
Jimmy, you dozed off there again.
What were you saying?
Do you have any idea what's keeping you up at night?